Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving right into a completely universal human experience. One that's honestly so common, yet somehow deeply consistently misunderstood by pretty much all of us. Have you ever found yourself making excuses for someone else's bad behavior? Or maybe you've tried to convince yourself that a super uncomfortable interaction was just, a total fluke. Well, today we're looking at the fascinating psychology behind the inevitable repetition of human behavior patterns, drawing directly from the insights of author Robert Greene. We're going to decode how to actually recognize these patterns, and way more importantly, how to stop falling for the illusion of the isolated incident. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. That isn't me. We've all heard that excuse, right? We've all been there. You get yelled at, mistreated, or someone just acts totally out of line. And then, almost immediately, it's followed up by this classic hurried backpedaling. They claim something just came over them. They try to distance themselves from their own actions, basically framing the whole event as this bizarre one-off anomaly. Essentially, they're telling you, that person who just yelled at you, yeah, that wasn't the real me. And because we naturally want to see the good in people, we are incredibly tempted to just believe them. But here's where we really need to hit the brakes. According to Robert Greene's analysis of human behavior, you need to realize one absolute, unwavering truth. That is never the case. When someone acts terribly and then claims it was just a freak exception to their character, they aren't telling the truth. The idea that a toxic outburst or a malicious act is just an isolated one-time glitch in the system, it's a complete fabrication. Section 1. The just once lie. The myth of the one-time mistake. So let's break down this widely accepted myth of the one-time mistake, because understanding why this is a lie is literally the foundation of recognizing human patterns. Society constantly conditions us to be forgiving, doesn't it? We're told to forgive a single bad act because, well, something came over them. We totally buy into the idea of the singular event. We want so badly to believe that stress, or lack of sleep, or just having a bad day caused someone to act totally out of character just this one time. But Greene's perspective urges us to strip all that societal conditioning away. This just once framing, it's actually a massive defense mechanism. And not just for the person doing it, but for us too. Because let's face it, it's way easier to forgive a singular imaginary anomaly than to confront a deeply ingrained flaw in someone we have to interact with. Greene points out exactly how we try to trap these actions in a tiny little box. Whether they're doing something bad to you, being overtly mean, or suddenly yelling at you out of absolutely nowhere, that initial offense is almost always falsely minimized as an anomaly. The person doing it attempts to shrink the significance of these highly aggressive or toxic actions by labeling them as a simple one-off. But think about it. Yelling at someone or intentionally doing something malicious requires a certain internal wiring. It doesn't just spontaneously generate out of thin air. Section 2. Unmasking the pattern. What lies beneath the apology? Okay, so if it's not a one-time event, what exactly are we dealing with here? Well, the crucial realization is that a singular negative action is actually always part of a larger, unavoidable pattern. A pattern of behavior is a recurring cycle of actions that a person repeats. When someone does something bad to you, it's never an isolated island. It's part of a massive continent of behavioral habits. The way they acted in that moment of conflict or cruelty, it's a direct reflection of a programmed response they have used before and, trust me, will definitely use again. And this cycle right here traps so many of us. It's like a trap we walk right into. It starts with step 1, the bad act. Then comes step 2, the apology, where they look at you and swear it wasn't really them. And then, inevitably, we hit step 3, the repeat. People never ever do something just once. They loop constantly from the offense, straight to the excuse, and boom, right back to the offense. That apology in step 2 isn't actually a bridge to changed behavior at all. It's really just a reset button. It buys them enough time and goodwill to get right back to step 3. What's really fascinating here is the absolute rhythmic inevitability of human nature that Greene is pointing out. Once that boundary is crossed, the floodgates open. They will do it again, and again, and again. Seriously, it's not a mere possibility, it's a behavioral certainty. By accepting that fake apology the very first time, the cycle firmly locks into place. The repetition is the reality. That again and again is the true baseline of their personality, entirely overriding whatever I didn't mean it fairy tale they tried to sell you. Section 3. What it reveals about them. Because this relentless cycle is actually broadcasting incredibly loud signals if we just choose to tune in and listen. When someone repeats a toxic behavior despite all their heartfelt apologies, it completely shatters the excuse of "that isn't me." In fact, it reveals exactly who they are. The repetition is them. Their character isn't defined by their regret, it's defined by their undeniable pattern. This cycle exposes their lack of emotional control, their total lack of genuine respect for your boundaries, and their reliance on manipulation to just smooth things over. It rips the mask right off and shows you the actual bare metal machinery of their personality. Section 4. What it reveals about you. Now, here is the brilliant psychological twist that Green introduces. He turns the mirror away from the perpetrator and points it directly at us. And I'll warn you, this is where things get really challenging, but it's absolutely crucial for our own growth. You see, while their actions seamlessly expose their true character, our response to this inescapable loop exposes our own. When we look at what it reveals about them, we clearly see a lack of self-control or maybe malicious intent. But when we look at what it reveals about us, oof, we have to ask some pretty hard questions about our own self-worth, our boundaries, and our willingness to be deceived. Are you a chronic people pleaser? Are you terrified of conflict? Do you lack the confidence to just demand better treatment? If you are trapped in someone else's pattern, it is shining a glaring, unmissable spotlight right on your own vulnerabilities. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. If their pattern reveals who they are, what does your tolerance of it reveal about you? I want to leave you with that final provocative thought to really chew on long after we wrap up here. Because recognizing a pattern in someone else is really only half the battle, right? The real work begins when we recognize why we allow that pattern to continue in our own lives. So the next time someone yells, acts mean, and quickly says, "That isn't me," remember, it absolutely is them. The only question left is, who are you going to be in response? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack all this, and welcome to this